Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our podcast, Moms on the Move. I'm Jen Wills.
And I'm Ashley Steigerwald.
Why are you laughing?
I don't know why I'm laughing.
We have special guest Sarah Neal here with us today.
Hey.
She is a certified nutrition coach and also a fitness instructor. So that's how we've met.
Yes.
Yeah, so she teaches at Sports Club.
Yep.
How many gyms are you a member of?
Okay, I used to be a member of Sports Club.
Which I miss you.
I know.
Right?
I know. And now I'm in the cult. Now I go to Burn. Yeah, I switched
understand
during
that cult.
quarantine.
Which sports club? The one, Congaree?
All three.
All three, okay.
Yeah. But I met you at Congaree.
Congaree.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were,
So.
she like walked in, I'll never forget. You have how many children?
4.
4.
Oh my gosh.
And she was just like buff and toned and tiny. And you had like just had a baby. And I was like, I want that. Sign me up. It didn't work.
How old are your kids?
They're
8,
young.
6, 5, and 3 now.
Boy, girl?
2 boys, 2 girls. So I got bookend boys.
She's like
And
really
2 girls in the
strong.
middle.
Like
Yeah.
really strong. You're impressive. So you
what I love
recently
to do.
decided to get your certification in
Yes,
nutrition?
I started that back in September, but it's been kind of like, I guess I had my own life change with it, but like 2 years ago, and
Okay.
then I just kind of felt like it was so easy that I kind of didn't really miss that need for
Yeah.
it. But my sister pretty much hounded me like every day. You need to do more of that. You need to do more with it. So
Yeah.
finally, like my husband jumped on board with her, and then I was like, fine, I'll do more with it. And I think I just saw that there was like a need with all the misconceptions around nutrition
There is a
and all
lot.
the fad diets that are out there, and realizing that as simple as it is really tough, I think, for people to grasp the concept of nutrition.
Because I think sometimes you think of nutrition, you think of diet.
Yes.
You know, those words kind of go together a
Yeah.
lot. You know, if I focus on my nutrition in my head, I'm having to go on a diet, and I feel like I'm not a big dieter, but you know, definitely after my kids, like I cannot lose some of the weight, which I know I'm not the only person.
No.
But dieting is so hard.
So you're thinking you're more like lifestyle versus diet?
Yes, because in a diet, I mean, diet phases, yes, there should be like, you can have phases of it, but I think what people do is they get into a certain diet and it becomes so restrictive, and then they have no exit plan out of it.
Yeah.
And then if you're constantly saying like, I need to go back on this diet or back on that diet, there was a reason why you fell off of it to begin with, and usually it's because it's too restrictive.
Yeah, there was something crazy, like 90% of people fail their diet and gain more weight back.
Yeah, which is crazy.
So
Yeah.
what is your approach? Because there's so many like approaches out there.
I think a lot of my approach too became from my own like past
Okay.
history. So like I had kind of gone through, I think what many college girls go through is like several eating disorders in a sense. I mean, we all kind of are trying to find our way, and then it kind of started off with like anorexia and kind of spiraled in other directions. And then once I finally got like my life together, then you're always like, oh, well, everyone commented on how good I looked when I was so skinny or this or that. So you always feel that like, am I enough as I am now, you know?
Yeah.
And then you start having kids and you realize your worth is so much more than, of course,
Yeah.
the scale and that sort of thing. And I think for me, it became like I just wanted to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And then also set a good example for my girls too.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, all the terms of like the intermittent fasting and don't eat your carbs before bed or don't eat carbs at all. And there's so much like out there playing into like what you should do to lose weight that
It's overwhelming.
it's very overwhelming, and
Yeah.
it's confusing. Like I said too, it becomes restricting. So the more you like tell yourself you can't have something, of course you're gonna want it. So I've learned too that being consistent has been the game changer for me.
Okay.
And so really it's developing, we talked earlier before the show started, was mindset.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it comes down to that mindset of, you know, the sleep side, you know, getting in just the daily movement. It's always like, oh, well, I need to exercise to lose weight. Well, yes, exercise is a great component of it, but think of too, of like your non-exercise activity, like how much you're moving through the day, and your energy levels through the day. Are you crashing and burning by 3 in the afternoon and then relying on coffee to get you through? Well, there's probably more to it than that. It could be like you're not feeling your body well. Oftentimes too, females especially come in and they're like eating like 1,200, 1,300 calories, and they're so frustrated because they're not losing the weight.
Yeah.
And it seems so backwards. And I think a lot of our approach is that reverse dieting. Is before, you have 2 options when you're eating that low. You go lower because your metabolism adapts, or you work on refueling your metabolism, which means you
More
have
calories.
more calories.
Quality.
Yeah. Quality food, more calories. And also taking the joy of like the foods that you do enjoy and learning to sprinkle it through your week versus like that mindset of I can't have it at all.
Yeah.
And then you're more likely to binge on it because you're like, well, I already messed my day up by having a bite of this. I might as well just finish it off.
Guilty.
You know?
I do. I completely
hard,
do that. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, tomorrow's the day I'm going to be real serious about it.
Yes. And then it's that endless cycle. And then tomorrow happens and then you maybe follow through or you don't, and then you feel guilty about it, and then it just
So do you like log your food?
I do if I have a certain goal in mind.
Okay.
So when it comes to like logging our food, it's not for everyone, and you can still hit your fitness goals and all that without doing it. I like to kind of approach it as like a tool.
Okay.
So if you kind of have no idea what you're
Like
kind
an
of taking
accountability
in,
tool? Yeah.
it's either eye-opener of like, wow, that's a lot more than I was thinking, or like, wow, I am totally not getting in
Or like the
enough.
sneaky calories,
Yes.
condiments,
Yes.
salad dressing,
Or your kids' food.
the
Truly.
the chicken nugget in the fry
For
here.
sure.
or there.
Oh, like
Yeah.
you didn't eat that piece of toast I made you? Whoop.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw it out.
And I caught myself, that was like kind of, I wasn't ever like making a lunch and breakfast for myself. It was kind of grazing on the kids' like leftover crust and throwaway food.
I do that. That's one of my biggest things I'm so guilty of. I'll eat because they eat usually before us. We don't have a good schedule.
Oh, trust me, that's
So then it's like a pre-dinner.
The dinner before the dinner.
The appetizer.
The appetizer.
Yeah. Like, I can't waste that delicious
The
Alfredo.
amuse-bouche of Alfredo.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things, too, if you have a specific goal, it's good to have that accountability. But if it's not one of those things, like too much of anything can become a problem. So if like you
Obsessed.
are like, if you're constantly tracking and feeling like you're failing your day, if you're not tracking or you're ruined all your progress because you don't track a day, then that means you probably should step away.
I did
back.
do like the macros
Yes.
stuff in the fall. I had really good results. And then all of a sudden it was just kind of like I fell off the wagon. And it was I was like, I need to do this again. And I did it for one day. And
But I think that's important what you said in the beginning. Like if you fell off the wagon, maybe that wasn't the right eating plan for you.
Yeah.
And maybe then what was it about that was, because I've tried the no carb thing.
Yeah.
And it'll go great. Well, and it's not sustainable. And so then you fall off the wagon, and then there's the shame cycle of I fell off the wagon, and why can't I do this? I have no self-discipline. And then I just need to try harder next time. And then you get more restrictive. I mean, this is just I'm speaking personal experience.
But
I'm
your
the same
personal
way. I'm the same.
can like relate to so many.
And so now, like, I have to tell myself, like, I've especially the past 2 weeks, I'm like, for me, it was if I have any alcohol, even just one glass of wine, I don't sleep well.
Yeah.
And if I don't sleep well, then the next morning it starts that I wake up with that sugar craving of, all right, I need the super sugary coffee, or the next morning it's, oh, I didn't sleep well and now I'm gonna, eat French toast sticks or something. And then it starts that cycle. And so like, especially the past 2 weeks, I've been telling myself like it's progress over perfection, because I'm an all or nothing person. I'm a total black or white, where if I'm on a plan and I miss my workout, I might as well eat the whole pizza and all of the ice cream, because I've already fallen off, so what does it matter?
Yeah.
So now it's more of, all right, I didn't get my workout in this morning for whatever reason, or I didn't go out and do, and when I say workout, I'm very much trying to just ease into it.
What are you doing?
I'm just, for now, just walking. I've got I went and got one of those Bowflex tread climber thingies.
Oh.
Well, and here's the thing, I sit on hours of Zoom meetings a week.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there because you talked about that lifestyle accumulation of how much you're moving in a day. And people think, oh, real estate, you're on the go. I was like, I sit in my car all day.
Yeah.
It's real hard. And then when I come home, I'm on Zoom meetings. So a friend of mine would do Zoom meetings and he would walk the whole time. And I was like, haha, and we make a joke out of it. I was like, that's a really great use of time.
Yeah.
So I got the tread climber so I can sit on a Zoom meeting for an hour while I walk. So that's the plan.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Because with your metabolism, like your non-exercise activity, which is that NEAT, takes up a much bigger percentage of your metabolism than like the exercise.
The little
portion
30-minute
does.
workout or 45
Yes.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. And that's another thing too, is like chasing the exercise. I mean, like you were joking too about the gym, different gym stuff you have going on. Cardio is, I think, ingrained in us because it feels so good.
Yep.
To get that endorphins kick in, to sweat, and you just feel good.
Yeah.
But in reality too, is that also adds a stressor to your body as well. So for me personally, and for many women too, is strength training.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was kind of that
Burn
missing
really
piece.
focuses on
Oh,
that.
they do. I
Yes.
do. I used to get a lot of the free burn.
Okay,
Saturdays.
yes. You need
They got rid of that.
But I think the strength training is so I'm not a group fitness person.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not. That's not my bag. I've tried it. The like you can do it. I'm like shh.
Yeah.
Like I get out of my face.
I don't really feel like I'm that kind of instructor.
I know. I'm just
you're
not a
not.
fan. But when you talk about strength training, like when I got in, like I used to be an athlete when I was in shape.
You played football.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
really?
road crew. But like for me, I really enjoyed like the heavy weights. And people
Yeah.
are afraid, oh, I'm going to get really big. No, you're not. If your nutrition's on track and you're lifting heavy, you're going to get super lean.
Yeah.
And then you get
sure.
those like Michelle Obama arms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the nice like.
You can see the triceps. the
Exactly.
shoulder.
Exactly.
For sure. Like, so when it comes to like the strength training side, is a lot of people who do have the bulk that we're like scared of getting, they have to work really, really hard for that. Like, really hard. A lot of calories, a lot of protein, a lot of discipline. I mean, in that way. So for the majority of female too, I mean, lifting heavy isn't going to get you that, you know.
Right.
So, but also too is like lifting correctly in good form and consistency. So we're like Reagan. I work with Reagan. She's another nutrition coach, so she's awesome. But so we are really big with that progressive weight training plan. So we kind of do it blocks at a time, where it's not like, you know, if you scroll through my phone, even through like quarantine last year, it's full of like a million different workout routines because I was like surviving in the living room, right?
Yeah.
But that was just for my own mental sanity more than like a composition result, because for that you kind of have to be, you have to be consistent. So if I'm jumping from one workout plan week after week after week, or even day after day, then your muscles aren't getting that time to build, and that consistent, you know, work ethic to that muscle area to grow and develop before you're moving on to the next thing. So we do it more in like 4-week blocks. So you're kind of progressing each week as your goal is to get stronger each week. So we're really big on like focusing on like your weight in the gym versus that weight on your scale. Just kind of helping shift that mindset, because scale weight,
That was
It's a
going to be a
hard one.
question. Yeah.
It's deceptive.
It
is.
Super deceptive.
it is. Which every female, especially men, I know men too, but like really struggle with the scale.
Yeah.
I mean, your whole day you can feel really, really good, and you step on that scale and you're like,
Yes.
well, screw it.
We
What am I doing
have
this?
we have a trainer at the gym, and a lot of times they'll do like your measurements,
Yeah.
because the girls will come in and say like, oh my gosh, I gained 5 pounds, and they'll end up saying like, I actually lost inches.
Yeah.
So it is super deceiving. But
is.
even when I know that, it's still hard when I see the scale, because I
Yeah.
think we're just so programmed.
How often do you weigh yourself? Are you in
lot.
every morning or don't do it every
I know. It's not
Once-
good.
It depends. I'm torn on that.
Yeah.
And it depends on the person.
Yeah.
So if you do it every single day, then you're kind of better off doing the average of 7 days and that get your weekly average to give yourself a better trend of your actual weight versus
and
daily.
honestly, being a woman,
It's going to fluctuate.
yeah, dramatically,
Sure.
dramatically.
Yeah. I can gain 3 pounds day to day without changing a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just my fluid.
You mentioned hormones. How much
Yes.
does hormones affect weight?
A lot, especially with metabolism, because I think a lot of people who do start working with us come to us with a lengthy background with chronic dieting.
Okay.
And then I think a common phrase that is used is my metabolism is broken, which it's not like.
And is it because of the yo-yo?
And I think it's because of the yo-yo. It's because of the, we start to ignore like our hunger cues. So when we talk about that intuitive eating side, is some people don't even know what that feels like.
Yeah.
So that's why I do like to have the tracking aspect to kind of help get people to that intuitive side.
Until they kind of reset.
Yes, because once you're kind of denying yourself, like when your body's telling you you're hungry, but you're like denying yourself to eat because you're not supposed to be eating more than like 1,000 calories, then you also lose that ability to tell yourself you're full.
Yeah.
And then that's when you kick that binging kicks in and you can't turn that off.
You miss the cue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it plays, it's so like in depth. That's why I'm doing a whole new training for myself, just so I can better help clients with when it comes down to like their thyroid, adrenal glands. Even like the sex hormones, all of those hormones play such a vital role in our nutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for women, we deal with, like, even after childbirth, I know your hormones are all over the place. And for me, with the boys, no matter what I did when I was pregnant, I always gained the same amount of weight, which I find so interesting. Because, why did I always gain the exact amount? Is it something you don't have the control over because it is so hormone-based?
Yeah.
A lot of times with pregnancy.
And fluid retention.
Yeah.
And it's funny because your adrenal glands are in charge of your that fluid balance and all that too. And so all of those are thrown off with pregnancy too.
Yeah.
So, just really hormones and that retention and, cravings and your activity and all that, all your energy is being sucked in.
Yeah.
by
So is it
babies.
true that like 80% of weight loss is diet or nutrition rather?
It's definitely a huge part. And I think a lot of people either come in, their missing element is the nutrition side. Like you'll see people like killing themselves at the gym and then they're frustrated. They're like, I do all this work and I see no change. But then when you like look at like, well, you're going to bed at midnight and you're trying to wake up at 5 a.m. every single day, you're exhausted. Or you're working out for 3 hours a day, but then you go and just lay around the rest of the day because you're tired,
right.
We underutilize like the value of getting in water. Water is important for that digestive system. And then just kind of like we just ignore those simple habits and we put so much into our workouts. Also too is I think the workout as much as you can and eat as little as possible comes down to the metabolism and how our bodies were created, that whole fight or flight response to like we were created to survive. So when we're not getting enough, your body is very smart. It's going to hold on to that fat tissue to survive.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of times that's when people start to eat more and they start like losing some of that body fat. The concept seems backwards, but it's like your body's kind of like, oh, okay.
So I know you make like for each person personalized plans. Is there something though that you see across all your clients that is helpful, like certain percentages of protein or?
So when it comes down to protein, so that's important for fueling your lean body mass. So for the majority, it totally depends on person, but about 25 to 35% of your calories is about that protein. Okay. So if you think about like it's not about like how your weight now, but thinking about that leaner side. So, of course, like too much of anything, your body doesn't need, and so it turns into fat tissue. So the same can be done with protein. So it's just kind of finding that balance of that lean body mass that your body needs.
Yeah.
So for me, it's, that about 30% of my intake is that protein side.
Or you can go like Bill. So Bill
I was
did
going to say, what was it called?
Carnivore Diet. Bill was doing the Carnivore Diet for a long time, where literally all he was eating was meat. Like all he was.
How did he feel?
He said he felt amazing. He's like, I've never had so much energy, to the point where, like, we would have dinner, and then we'd run over to Publix or something, like, hey, the kids want to grab dessert, and the kids would grab ice cream, and we're going to check out, and there would be a ribeye on the conveyor belt. And so we jokingly called it dessert steak. So he would have steak dinner and then have dessert steak after that.
Oh my gosh.
But like he's following all these people on social media, and he started using the hashtag.
Is this current?
He's off right now, but
Okay,
he's thinking about getting back on. And I have begged him to add some like complex, healthy carbs, and some like at least some vegetables in there, because he lost a ton of weight and was like getting really thin. I was like, you're not getting enough.
Is that why he always posted pictures of the meat he was cooking?
Because yes, and he started using the hashtag meat heals, meat heals.
Oh my gosh.
So like if the kids would get like a scrape or something, I was like, grab a meatball, it heals. But but for him, like the extreme of it worked, and I think he would have, like, I was the one badgering him on that, so it would never work for me.
Yeah,
not my style. I mean, like he would.
I think that's like a meat overload.
Well, by week 3, I'm like, every time I smell steak, I'm like,
like, what's he eat for breakfast?
Steak and eggs.
Oh my God. Okay.
I think that comes down to is the lifestyle side as well.
I think a lot of guys are like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. It's hard to live off. I mean,
I love a good steak. Not sure I want it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes.
And a dessert.
And dessert steak.
Dessert steak.
And jerky in between, like.
Man.
I know. Not for me.
Was his iron really low?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it worked for
yeah,
me.
obviously too much of anything can't be good. What about carbs? Like, what are for a woman who, what percentage do you see for a woman trying to lose some weight?
Yeah.
Percentage.
And again, that all comes down to person and diet.
If they work out.
That history. So carbs are, that's the fuel source for energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that replenishes in your muscles and helps, it's great for strength training. So getting that glycogen storage in your muscles for those lifts and PRs and all that, it's awesome. So that's like that fuel for your energy source. Now, when it comes to carbs, your body's not going to be like, those are potato chips. Those are going straight to fat, right? And like that sort of thing. But it'll see potato chips and potato as the same. The difference being, it sees them as carbs. Breaks them down the same. The difference being is that the more processed foods lack the micronutrients, so that they get broken down really fast, leading you added sugar.
Yeah.
So they get broken down super fast. They give you that sugar spike. Your insulin kicks in, it drops it down. So it kind of gives you that up and down really quick on your sugar spike, leaving you either, that brain fog, fatigue, irritability, and then hungry sooner. Mm-hmm. Whereas like a more whole food type thing is going to be broken down a little bit more slowly. It's got fiber, micronutrients in it, so it's going to serve your body well, Right. It just gives you a little bit more of that balanced, blood sugar. So a lot of breakfast ideas seem to be more carb focused.
Okay.
From what I've noted, even like what's out there on TV, it's like all the cereals and Pop-Tarts and waffles and all that kind of stuff, that we've kind of
grew up
as our breakfast, right? That just totally sets your day up as that yo-yo cycle with the blood sugar.
Yeah.
So I'm really big on finding like your balance with your breakfast, like having your oatmeal, but adding in some peanut butter and eggs. There you have your carbs, your fats, and your protein, and they help balance each other out without giving you the ups and downs of your blood sugar spike, and it just kind of gives you a good solid start to your day.
So do you believe in intermittent fasting?
Depends on person. right? So intermittent fasting works really well for some because what it basically does is it shortens your window of time of getting your calories in.
Yeah.
So for example, if like my husband, for example, loves a big dinner. So for him, like skipping breakfast is no big deal.
Yeah.
He can get all of his calories in a short window of time. So he's done it in the past, but he's not right now. But females, for example, that's sometimes that short window is either not enough time, or we don't like those big meals that make us feel stuffed, because in our brain, if we feel really full, that means we're large, which is not, it's just all in that mindset, right? But so we're not actually getting in probably what we should in that time frame.
Okay.
So it just really depends on
The person.
So I wouldn't say like that makes or breaks someone, but for someone who, doesn't mind skipping breakfast, that works for them, and it just kind of shortens that window of time where they do need that calorie deficit, that works well.
Is there anything that you think is like you would advise off the bat cutting out of your diet?
Processed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just more and more research behind it. I mean, I guess it too is like all the autoimmune stuff going on with people, like all the health issues and digestive issues and the mental health behind stuff. Like your gut is tied to your brain, which, I think don't give our gut enough credit for our bodies, right? So just kind of what we do ingest and put into our bodies and how it's broken down and how it does over time take your toll on our body. So I do think, my sister right now is battling with an autoimmune disease, and they still haven't figured out what in the world it is. And I think she reflects back too as her own, like she used to eat a bar, like survive on bars like for years through college, and just all that processed foods. Whereas now, she's completely like on full whole foods and all that stuff to help try to heal her body in that way. But I do feel like if we can start to like sprinkle, like I guess like sprinkle that in versus it being like
the primary.
Primary diet.
But that gut health is trending now. I think a lot of people are starting to talk about it.
I think so too.
Yeah. So what is that gut mind body connection that everybody's kind of tiptoeing around right now? We're talking about.
So there, it all comes down to that gut bacteria too. So there's the good bacteria and the bad bacteria, and then of course it's called dysbiosis. I always struggle with this.
That's good.
But it's kind of like that bad bacteria, right, that develops in our gut, and just kind of creates that low energy and the digestive issues and all that stuff. So probiotics are kind of great for that. But really, too, is when it comes down to some people are constantly bloated, that's one of those things that maybe you should go get that checked out too, see what's kind of going on.
What about other supplements like magnesium, for example, which is what I hear like does a cleanse for you?
Magnesium, I feel like it does help. I think it helps with digestion of like if you're irregular and stuff like that, but it also helps with sleep. I kind of feel like a good, multivitamin too, and like also researching on the product itself too, because there's a ton out there. And none of them are always like as regulated as some too. It's just kind of,
it's a very unregulated industry.
I personally don't really take much supplements just because I try to eat. I just try to eat a pretty well versatile, balanced.
I do liquid omega-3s.
Okay.
But I don't eat sea meats.
Okay.
I don't eat anything from the ocean.
Yeah.
So like all those good omegas that you get from like fish and all that, I don't eat the sea meats. So when I am working out.
Sea meats.
I never heard of that.
That's what I call it in our house. We call them the sea meats. I don't eat the sea meats. So I do a liquid like omega when I'm trying to be healthy way back in the day.
I need to get back on track.
Yeah.
So do you have like an office, or do you just meet with people?
We are, I mean, we've kind of like, the trend it's all going is that the online coaching side, which is awesome. So you can kind of reach a wide variety of people. I think it's just kind of teaching people too of that consistency side of like, if you're consistent 80% of the time, then like, and you have that like date night with your husband, or that girls' night with your friends, or that weekend getaway, you're okay to go and enjoy that time. And then your routine's gonna be there. And
so do you make like a food plan for people?
No.
Okay.
That's only because, say for example, someone comes to work with us for like 3 months or whatever they need, and we are giving them a set meal plan every day. Sure, yeah, you can follow that, right? But like, what happens when the time is up?
Yeah.
And do you learn? So it's not like we're like, good luck. It's just more of like,
here's some ideas.
Here's ideas. Like, we have recipe books, we have ideas, we have different logs of stuff that work, just to kind of help people figure out. We do. Okay. So we use, MyFitnessPal is an awesome tool out there. It's very easy to use. And then we use an app that connects us to that, so we can help see. So for example,
so you're watching them.
Yeah.
Bad, Jen.
It depends. Yeah. I am not there to judge. That's what I tell them all the time. But I think it helps them to that accountability side for sure. But
that would help me. If I knew you were like watching me.
Like, oh my
She's gonna text you when you eat that cookie.
Don't do it.
Or like, it's more of those things of like, I'm struggling in this area. I'm like really hungry in the afternoon. Well, it's like, let's take a look and let's see if like, let's increase, let's add this 4 ounces of chicken instead of 3, or like just small adjustments. Because if you have a certain lifestyle and then like I come in and I'm telling you like, stop eating this, stop eating that, or that's so overwhelming.
Yes.
So you have to kind of take your lifestyle and tweak things and readjust habits, and it's just a lot more sustainable than.
I feel like this has motivated me.
Good. Well, good.
Yeah.
Good. That's what I want to
Well, if somebody wants to find you, if somebody hears this and they're like, okay, I think I need some coaching, where do they find you?
So my Instagram handle is, I was super clever, I thought, because my last name is Nail, but I'm all about like being functional, so it's Functionale Fit.
Yes.
So that's like my Instagram handle, or Fitfully Ray is Reagan, who I work with.
Perfect.
And then our next step right now is building a community and like our idea is going towards being made for more. So, and that's kind of the whole concept of like, we are made for more than like the scale weight, more than like those bad thoughts and feelings that we have about ourselves, and just kind of like, we are made to enjoy and being content with like our lives where we are. Like, my life shouldn't be about moody based on what I ate. I need to enjoy the moments with my children. Like, I think so many
Think of what your body did.
Oh my goodness.
Went through.
That's what I tell moms all the time. I'm like, your body is like amazing. You created this perfect human
like we
being.
need more grace on ourselves.
Yeah. And that's the thing I think that's hard about social media too, is like, we think that we have to be back to the baby body, when it's not fair to do.
You know what else, real quick, before I know we have to wrap this up, but a lot of times what you kind of said, you hear compliments when you lose weight. Like, I had gone through this cleanse, which was great. I did a cleanse and it was no processed foods. It was really hard. I slept great, lost like 5 pounds, and I got multiple compliments.
Yeah.
But that was not sustainable. So I think like we as women need to not compliment. I mean, I understand that's just like the normal, and like, yeah, maybe you do look great, but when people like lose weight, you want to make sure they're doing it in a healthy way.
For
so
sure.
maybe don't just compliment that.
Yeah.
I think we need to be more aware of that.
I agree.
Or just in general. I'm very conscientious and intentional about if someone puts a new profile up, I'm like, you look really happy in this photo.
Yeah.
Not, oh my God, you're so gorgeous. And you'll do you look, but I think it's really important, and especially you said with your daughters and whatnot, is making sure that our compliments aren't always physical appearance based.
Yeah,
and I think
so true.
we need to be intentional about that as women to other women, that the first thing when you see a friend you haven't seen in a while, whether their weight fluctuated up or down, that we're looking deeper than that.
Yeah. Because, I have 2 girls, right? And they're built completely different, and so, and I hate that I already have to be concerned about that for them,
Yeah, for sure.
That's could one day be an issue or something, just because their bodies are just made different, but they're both, their personalities are amazing, so I always try to build up on who they are as people.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back real quick. Well, we have to wrap up, but the skinniest I ever was, truly, I was depressed.
Unhappy.
I was very unhappy. It was when we were dealing with the infertility stuff, and I was doing this no sugar diet, and I looked probably great. Yeah. But I was so unhappy. Yeah. So just because you look so great doesn't, there's more to it.
I can 100% agree. Yeah. I was 115 pounds. I'm 5'10". I should not be 115 pounds. No. And in college, and I was a miserable human being, right? I was so insecure, and my thoughts were just consumed by food. Yeah. It was just not a fun place to be. And so I think too is part of my mission myself is if I can prevent another female from going through that, even the college age girls or high school, and or instill that already in my kids' heads too. Beyond just being a mom now too, I feel I have 2 different I want to help moms, but I also have a huge heart for college age girls, because that's a really rough.
It is.
I wouldn't want to go back.
No.
Right.
Or if I go back, I'd shake myself. Yeah. Enjoy this time.
Enjoy it more. Well, thank you so much, Sarah,
thank
for
you for having
coming.
me.
Thank you. And if anyone wants to reach out to Sarah, again, she provided her info, but we'll provide that link in our profile. And then we want to thank our sponsors.
Yes, our amazing sponsors have been so kind.
So kind with us. So we've got Wilson Associates Real Estate. Yep. Thank you to Sharon and Nick and our whole wonderful family we have there. Yeah. Also, Prime Lending, Yay. Amanda McCall. She's amazing. Yes. I just gave her another client. She's got it out. We also have Parham Smith and Archenhold, and they are a subsidiary with Blackacre.
Yep. So closing attorneys, and if you need some estate or looking to get your will done, it's super important. Nobody likes to have those conversations, but what's worse is putting that type of decision on your family after you're gone to make these really important decisions. Yeah. So, yep.
So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks.